today's episode, you guys, is brought to you by Perfect Storm Real Estate Specific Software. It's the website I use in my business. I'm actually a partial owner within the company that's been able to give my input to help create a piece of software that is uber effective at lead generation in our real estate businesses. That website, www.perfectstormnow.com. Go check that out. It's amazing, epic front-end lead generation site that's extremely affordable for real estate agents out there. Also, today's episode is brought to you by our 90-day mastery bootcamp. If you're in the real estate industry, if you're wanting to take your business to the next level, this is a gnarly, crazy experience. We go through for 90 days straight. There's there is 13 total sessions that we go through. Each weekly session is about 2 to 3 hours long every single week. Plus, you have daily access to me going through the experience through the group. So to check out more about that program, we roll those out about every 90 days. We stagger them once in a while, but we do about 3 or 4 of those every single year. We have one starting September 28th, so next Monday, which is the last one in 2015. So if you want to spend the next 90 days with me, about 40 hours of just crazy epic content helping your business take it to the next level, go to www.90daymastery.com. That's our sales page. You can see testimonials, learn more about the product, and register and sign up right there. If you are signing up, make sure to use the promo code LiveMastery, all caps, all together, all one word, LiveMastery. It saves you $500. It makes that whole entire 90-day coaching experience only $997 for you guys. So, all right, let's jump on in. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD interview, where every single week we interview top entrepreneurs, top realtors, top health and fitness professionals, and just straight up top badasses that are out there doing big things in their space, that are dominating their space, that are choosing to go out there and create epic lives. So today we got an overall badass on the show. It's a good friend of mine. This is a dude that's a rock star real estate agent, coach, consultant, serial entrepreneur, if you will. So today I'm stoked and honored to have my friend Colton Lindsay on the show. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Josh. I'm excited.
Yeah,
GSD mode today.
That's it, baby. It's the only way to operate, dude. So I appreciate being on the show, man. And I know you got a lot of things going on, dude, today. But, like most successful entrepreneurs, you didn't start there. So let's kind of rewind the clocks real quick and go back into what you did, what your journey was before you got into entrepreneurship. I mean, did you have a stint in corporate America, and kind of rewind the clocks from high school, college forward?
Yeah, man. So it's funny, I grew up in, my mom was an office manager at a local real estate company, and I saw these agents driving nice cars and making a lot of money. I'm like, God, that's what I got to do. I got to get in real estate. So like 8th grade, I went to job shadow a local agent, and he did a lot of new construction, was crushing it. And then, once I graduated high school, I went on a Mormon mission for 2 years, knocked the shit out of the doors. And in one of these last towns that I was at, it was a town called Bagé. It's in the southern part of Brazil. I found the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Have you ever read that book?
Yeah, awesome book.
And I read it for the first time in Portuguese, and it just like blew my mind with like the possibilities of how to connect with people. And so as soon as I got home from my mission, I got licensed and I jumped right into the business. I had 2 jobs before my mission. I got fired from those. And one of them was fired after a week. I worked on an assembly line at it's like an airbag place, and they fired me after a week. I fell asleep on the assembly line. Dude, it sucked. You ever worked on the assembly line? It's the worst ever.
What, you're like 18 at that point?
Yeah, I was 18, and like 4 out of the 5 machines were broken down. And I was staying up till like 2 a.m. anyways at the time. It was like, I'll just kind of rest for a second. Boom, they fired me. And the other one was public works, right? And I remember I got fired because I would take a smoke break, right? I didn't smoke, but everyone else was smoking, taking smoke breaks. So I would sit there and take my smoke break just like everyone else, and they didn't think it was too funny. So my 2 real jobs, got fired, got into real estate at 21, and that's how I first got into the business, straight out of my mission.
So how many years has it been? How old are you today, dude?
So just turned 31, so it's 10 years now that I've been in the sales game, the real estate business.
That's awesome, dude. Love it, man. Love it. So let's talk about when you first got into the business. I mean, you shadowed this guy when you were in 8th grade. A lot of people have this perception that getting into this business is going to be easy, but 90% of realtors fail in the first 3 years. Right? So it's like, what did you do? I mean, number one, was it easier or harder than you thought? And then what did you do right out of the gate to ensure that you weren't in that statistic, that 90% stat of getting out of the business?
So it was much harder than I thought. I realized this guy that I shadowed, he didn't really have a duplicatable model, right? He was crushing it in new construction, and his sphere of influence at the time were subcontractors. He was going to job sites, just seeing people, and just got referrals from them, and it wasn't really something I could duplicate. And what I did to ensure that I didn't fail out of the business, I was living in my parents' house at the time. So, low overhead was the key. My first year, Josh, I actually sold 2 houses. One of them was to my sister, and another one was because the market was hot. They walked into our office and bought a brand new construction just off the MLS right there. So it was like I got lucky, right? And that's when I realized what I was doing was not working. And I went to a training course with Fearless Agent. And you've probably seen a lot that I do with Fearless Agent now. To actually start prospecting and getting on the phones and get in front of people. So hold on one second. I got to turn my phone on to. Was calling me. So anyways, that's where I learned how to start prospecting and getting in front of people. And right then, 2006, the market was still pretty good. 2007, it started shifting. And what I realized is everyone that was crushing it in real estate, as the market started crashing, they started dropping out of the business because they didn't have the easy deals anymore. And I didn't know any different besides just get in front of people on the phones. And that's when my business started growing as everyone else started getting out. So
Okay, so you're in the business for about a year. You start deciding that you're going to play offense. You start prospecting, and I'm a big fan of playing offense, dude. I hate playing defense, so I'm there with you, bro. So what did you start attacking? So when you talk about prospecting, elaborate on that. Is that working the phones? Is that door knocking? Is it all of the
working the
above?
phones, man. And I did knock doors, but I had knocked so many freaking doors in Brazil, dude. I mean, I was walking 10 to 15 miles a day in southern Brazil. I made this commitment, like I'm never freaking knocking doors again. And my friend Brian Casella, he crushes it knocking doors. I just hate it, right? So I started phone calling, and I remember my first listing appointment. You'll laugh at this, actually, dude. So I could speak Portuguese really well, and there's a high Spanish-speaking community here. So someone answered in Spanish. So I said, "¿Quieres vender la casa?" And he said, "Sí." So I just said, "All right, I'm coming over." Set up a meeting. And I realized I don't speak Spanish, right? I speak Portuguese. So I'm trying to present to this dude with Portuñol while his 14-year-old daughter is like translating for me.
Yeah.
And at the very end, I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's get it signed I list it for $75,000. And all I understood him say was 114,000. And I'm like, what? And his daughter told me they owed $114,000 on the house. And my first appointment was when I realized that people had mortgages they had to pay off on their freaking house. So that was my first experience. I was calling expireds, and obviously that's why I didn't sell. And so from there on, I just took the scripts that I learned from my mentor, Bob Leffler, and I remember I had them laminated in the shower, and I was just memorizing because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just said the words over and over again, and I just started falling into deals more and more and more after that. And I built my business mainly off of for sale by owners. There was one year I sold 40 for sale by owners that year, and that was just FSBOs. And I just got in front of them, got contracts signed, and got better at pricing them, and got better at building a sphere of influence and past clients. And from them now, very rarely do I call FSBOs. Maybe I'll do it once or twice a week just to kind of keep up on it. But I built my funnel, whereas I've got my people farm, which is basically anyone that said they're thinking of buying or selling real estate. Then I've got my past customers. I've got my SOI, and then I've got my personal circle that it just kind of funnels down, and that's where I derive my business from now. So
Yeah, awesome, dude. So just to give everybody some perspective here, because a lot of people might hear, or like if they go to your YouTube channel, I know you've got a lot of good videos with you live on the call, and people might see you today and be like, "Oh, dude, he's just this natural, whatever," But it doesn't sound like you were a natural when you started. You had to work those scripts, and just to give people some perspective, because I think that's this limiting belief that most agents have. They don't realize that everybody sucks in the beginning. Everybody's fearful of rejection. Everybody sucks in the beginning. It takes practice to look like that you have this natural gift ability now because you've had thousands and thousands of at-bats. What did that look like, dude? I mean, how many did you have to call before you started having success, before you started feeling good? Just to give our listener base an idea of what
Oh
the effort
man,
really is.
what I realized was getting appointments actually wasn't as hard as it seemed like, but it was getting qualified appointments that I didn't recognize. Like I didn't realize that everyone couldn't buy or sell at first. I was just thinking someone said they wanted to. It's like I'm going to meet with them. That's what I did. But to give you an idea, I was probably at the time, man, I probably had to hit 50 to 60 contacts just to get an appointment. And it wasn't even necessarily a qualified appointment. Whereas today, I'm 20 contacts to get an appointment. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely changed. And even now I'm making, I think, right around 7,500 contacts a year, just talking to people on the phone. So to do 75 transactions with just me and two assistants, and you got to make 7,500 contacts, that's a lot of freaking no's. It's a lot of people getting pissed off or getting angry or whatever it is. And I used to take it so personal and emotional, and I'd let it beat me up. And then I was just like, it doesn't even matter, man. I look at my numbers track, and I just made $57 just to get told no and to piss off. So, it's funny. Actually, last week, someone said to me, they're like, why are you even calling me? You're not going to make any money off of me. And my natural response was, actually, I just made $57, so I appreciate you picking up the phone call. She's like, what? You made $57? I want your job. So you just got to look at it differently. But yeah, I got my ass handed to me at first, I even remember that year I did 40 FSBOs. I think I went on like 90 presentations that year just to sell 40, because I think I listed around 60 or something, and I only sold 40 of them. So you just got to get used to getting told no and just fail over and over again.
What's your favorite style for attacking those for sale by owners? I mean, are you like a bottom line up front strategy kind of a guy? Like what do you hit them with?
Yeah, absolutely. I might just call and say, hey, my name is Colton Lindsay with Keller Williams Real Estate. My records indicate your house is for sale by owner. Is that true? Get them saying yes right out of the gate, naturally, just because we all speak in patterns, linguistics. Get them saying yes. And then one of the first questions I always ask is, oh, great, when you sell your house, where are you moving to next? You think of it like when you go to a party, Josh, and you see some friends and they say, hey, guess what? We're going to sell our house. We're moving. You don't say when, right? That's not like the first question you ask. You ask them is where are you moving to next? So you can't come off like a vulture. And then next is find out their price. And I hit them after my price with kind of this magic question. It's okay. So you brought it up. You're trying to sell your house yourself without having it on the market with a real estate person. Is that because you hate realtors, or what is it? And it's kind of a trick question because they always get laughing. Oh, no, we don't hate realtors. It's about the money. And so you get them to admit quickly it's about the money. It's about their bottom line. Oh, okay, so it's about the money. Really? Is that the only thing is the money? Well, yeah, I mean, what else is there? I got you. Well, hey, Josh, I got to get going to another call, but real quick, I got to ask you this. If you knew 100% that by doing business with me, two things would happen. One is, yes, you sell your house. Okay. The other is you'll end up with significantly more money in your pocket, bottom line, than you could get any other way. That's with or without an agent. And I know it's a big promise, Josh, but if you knew it were true, would you even want to hear more about it? Be honest with me. And you get them to say, yeah, we'd want to know about it. And a lot of times these for sale by owners are so programmed, like they know their script's better than we do, right? And they're going to be like, oh, well, we're listing with Johnny. And you've got to get your mindset. Well, that's not the freaking question I asked. I asked if you could get more money, would you want to hear about it? So I go back and literally I'll repeat that question 2 or 3 times to get them to say yes or no. I don't care if they say yes or no. I just want them to answer my question. When they say yes, boom, great. Why don't I do this? I don't mind. I'll swing by for 15 or 20 minutes. I'll take a look at your house and show you how I do business. I think you'll be impressed because I do things completely differently. But worst case scenario is this, Josh. You say, hey, Colton, it's not a good fit for me, and you kick me out after 20 minutes. What do you say? You willing to risk kicking me out of your house, Josh? People always laugh and say, hey, I got no problem with that. Great. Does 3 o'clock work, or, is tomorrow at 5 o'clock better? You just set the appointment, pre-qualify him. I decide if I go on it or not. Go in with a powerful presentation. You ask them to sign the contract. You give them stellar customer service, and then they refer everyone to you. FSBOs are easy, man. They're super simple.
Yep, no, I dig it, dude. I dig it, man. So, okay, so you transition into your second year, so you start prospecting, attacking these FSBOs. At what point did you get to a position where you wanted to start your team? Not wanted to start your team, needed to start your team? Because I know today you've got several assistants. What was that transition like?
I kind of went through phases where, I needed an assistant, and then I kind of like had a single 24-year-old mental breakdown partying stage where I blew all my money. I don't know if you've ever heard of someone going through that stage.
No, never.
And
Been through
so
that a couple times myself.
so I think the idea is realizing, okay, I am working way more than I want to. What things do I hate doing? I wanted to do, which was basically prospect, present, and negotiate, and then everything else that needed to happen to do customer, service, stellar customer service. I just wrote a list and then tried to identify someone that could fill that role. And so I would say for me, was probably about that 25 to 30 deals mark, but it's because I'm lazy. I think you could probably push it above that, but I'm not the type of guy that likes to work 16 hours a day. I mean, I like to think and create 16 hours a day, but I don't like to just sell 16 hours a day, if that makes sense. So probably about that mark for me was about 25, 30 deals is when I started leveraging with that.
So, and then where are you at today? So, yeah, I know you mentioned, so you have two assistants, and are you actively doing all the selling, or do you have any buyer's agents? Have you experimented with any buyer's agents?
Yeah, so right now I'm doing all the selling, and I work about 4 days a week right now, and then Friday I do a lot with my coaching and training and stuff like that, do interviews and things. And I got one assistant. He handles all the front end stuff, the active stuff, signs, key boxes, marketing, showing homes. I still do work with quite a bit of buyers, probably about 30-40% of my stuff for buyers, but I just don't show them homes. I've got that leveraged out. And then Sarah, she does all our back end from contract to close. And I've got actually a buyer's agent starting 3rd of October, right? I listened to an interview you did with AJ Maida. And plus, I'm doing some huge interviews with like Chad Goldwasser. I don't know if you know that dude.
Yeah, he's been on the show before. Yep.
He's freaking insane. And Spring Benson. Who else did I have on recently? Joe Delia, and all of them start talking about, okay, the next level is who's the next agent that I'm going to hire. And I kind of came from a background, a little bit mixed Mike Ferry, but a lot of it fearless agent that really focused on the sales side of it, but never really focused on the business growth aspect of it. So that's kind of where I put a focus in when I heard a couple of these people, and even you mentioned AJ, okay, well, who's the next agent that I'm going to hire, right? So I put a focus on that, and now we're getting to the end of the hiring process. I'm actually meeting with him tomorrow to give him the offer, so hopefully October 3rd, we'll have him start my first buyer's agent, start leveraging a little bit more.
Yeah, it gets to that point where it's like, okay, I can go on to this appointment. Maybe I go close the appointment, and through the life of that client, I get 10 deals out of it. Or I can go hire, spend that same amount of time, money, investment in an agent, and that agent's going to bring me 30, 40, 50 deals over and over and over again. So it becomes that natural progression, absolutely, dude. So like today, dude, I mean, your team's expanding. A lot of your business is your sphere of influence, your database. Like that is the money tree that all these real estate agents neglect, right? They get so busy chasing new business, they neglect all their past clients, they have this money tree in their backyard that they just consciously choose not to water. What have you done to build that up and stay in touch and follow up with them? What systems do you use, and what are maybe some of the things that you do to be able to build that massive sphere of influence where now, dude, you don't have to go work those phones as much?
Yeah, and actually, one of the major things, I do really work the phones a lot, but I call my sphere of influence. I call my past clients. I'm always talking with them. So I try to have a conversation with a past client and a sphere of influence at least 5 times a year, maybe 6 times a year. Twice a year, I do a customer appreciation event. Like next Monday night, I'm doing a customer event over at it's called Black Island Farms. It's corn maze. So, doing a family gathering where people come out, hit the corn maze, pumpkin patch. I got my affiliates smoking hot dogs, giving out raffle prizes. And so just staying in front of them, doing fun stuff like that. I send them a monthly mailer every month. My SOI and my past clients get the same exact postcard from me, my big, beautiful face. Who do you know thinking of buying or selling real estate in the next 30 days? And plus, we do some email campaigns. Maybe once or twice a month we'll do an email send out. But the challenge with that is getting open rates right now is what I've noticed. And so that's why I've really pushed the direct mail, because even if they throw it away, they're going to look at it before they throw it away. And it's that same thing with your linguistic programming. It's just branding them yourself over and over again with them. Also, what I found to really keep that strong, Josh, is the moment that you bring on a new customer, is you're giving them world-class service, right? From the book Raving Fans and E-Myth, if you just build out an awesome system, we get a lot of referrals just from our active clients just because they love how we're taking care of them in that very moment. So that's how I work my sphere of influence. My people farm's a little bit different. I just kind of randomly call them, and I just set my dialing system. I use Mojo Dialer, by the way, and I just set it. Okay, if I haven't contacted them in the last 90 days or I haven't dialed them in the last 20 days, I'm just going to call them, and then they're going to get a postcard from me every 2 weeks, every 15 days, and then they're also going to get emails from me every 15 days. And so that's more of like just a larger, I guess, scale of just trying to stay in front of people. And probably about 25% of my business comes from that database. And it's easy because I just call them and say, hey, just call them to see if you're thinking of selling your house. Oh, you're not? Do you have any plans of moving ever? Well, yeah, maybe in 6 months. Oh, what? It's like an emergency, right? You're moving in 6 months and then convert it. If not, then I try to build. Really, what the idea of prospecting is this. I think prospecting is misinterpreted in our community as real estate agents, that the Mike Ferry organization pushes just call the shit out of people until they hate you, calling FSBOs and calling expires. And I look at it as, okay, two things. You're building relationships, maintaining relationships, or you're creating new relationships. That's all it is to me. And so I try to start then identifying people that recognize me out of that people farm. They're getting my postcards and they know it. Now I start to have more of a referral type conversation with them, and then I'll switch them into my SOI, so I'll bring them down the funnel a little bit to just get more direct referrals from them. So hopefully that gives you a nutshell of how I work that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Did you do any? So, I love the client appreciation parties, man. I think those are so powerful. Do you do any type of party for your farm area, a get together where you can get kind of that face to face, get the community together?
I do send out some invites to the client appreciation event that I'm doing. That's pretty much an invitation for everyone, but I really push it harder to my past clients of sphere of influence. I just don't push it as hard to them, but there will be people from my people farm that will come up to that event.
How do you stay in touch with everybody? Like, what database are you using?
The whole thing I use is Mojo dialing system, and they're coming out with Mojo 2.0 here in a few weeks. Actually, probably a couple of months. I know they're alpha testing it right now, and I'm good friends with David England. He's the VP over there at Mojo, and they're basically hybriding a dialer into kind of like a top producer.
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked about that. But I just use Mojo all the way through. Yeah, I mean mixed in with MailChimp too. I guess that's my email system is MailChimp.
Cool, man. Yeah, no, I love Mojo, man. It's a system that we've been using for, I don't know, probably 5 years. And it's a badass system, dude. So all right, dude. So what do you do though, personally for goal setting, right? So like, and maybe if you want to talk about your team goal setting and how you get everybody to goal set, but one thing that's very easy to do is good's the worst enemy to greatness. So it's so easy to be comfortable. I mean, you could be a dude right now that you're like, well, I'm going to go work my 30 hours a week and make a few $100,000 a year and chill out. But you're still pushing new ventures, which we'll talk about here shortly. What do you do to goal set to ensure that you're leveling up, to ensure that you're not getting comfortable in life?
I visualize a ton. See, I think we live in a world, Josh, where everyone's always connected to their phone and it's a friggin' emergency, right? I try to get that turned off. Get up early in the morning, 5 o'clock, and I try to visualize I just do it. I visualize how do I want my life to look. I've broken it down spiritually, mentally, physically, socially, and financially. And I'm always visioning, okay, what would it look like, to have $20,000 a month passive income, and if I did, what would I do, right? Let's say that was today, and then I'd ask that question, okay, well, I'd go live in Costa Rica for a month, or I'd take my family to a Lani resort, or I'd go to Bangkok, or whatever it is, I'd put, actually it starts to change when you have kids. It's like, okay, I'd put this new fence up, right? That's your visualizations change a little bit. So I visualize a ton, and I'm always journal writing. And then I track it. So I anchor that. Okay, so if the visualization is Alani Resort, right? Which you do things like that when you have a 3-year-old, you take them to a Disney resort. So then, okay, well, how much does that cost? And then I start to break down, okay, so how do I anchor that to my prospecting, to my lead generating? And I anchor the result, the reward to the input. See, your roots determine your fruits in life. And so you've always just got to be just nurturing what those roots are. And honestly, a lot of it is just feeling good, man. The better you feel, the better awesome things just happen in your life. And so that's, I guess, if that answers your question, I just visualize, I feel good, and then I track the numbers.
Yeah, dude. So what do you do? I know that you're a big guy on growth. You coach. You've been coached heavily. What does your self-development look like in your world today?
Well, it's you're either growing or you're dying, right? And one of the things I love that Chad Goldwasser said is, I am high positive energy, 10,000 watts. And have you ever read the book Asking Is Given?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude, you need to
Good
check
book, huh?
it out. It's a trip, dude. So in this book, Abraham Hicks is the guy who's talking, but it's really not a guy. It's this woman, Esther, that's like channel. Let's do weird shit, but like super awesome. And in that book, it talks about the emotional guidance scale, and your top emotion is love, joy, abundance, passion, excitement, and it goes down to boredom, contentment, clear down to anger, depression, and fear. And so you've got this about 20 something different levels of emotions. And so my whole philosophy that I've built is, how can I feel good right now, and how can I always feel better? And the better I feel, the more positive energy that I'm putting out. And instead of, everyone thinks that the law of attraction is attracting to you, and that's not how it works. Is it attracts through you, and you create this flow of positive energy. Everything's made up of energy, and so if you can flow that. So I just focus every day, okay, well, what is the next thing that I need to get great at next in my life? And I rank myself on a scale of 1 to 10, spiritually, mentally, physically, socially, and financially. So if, for example, on my physical, I rank myself a 7, I then ask, okay, I say, okay, what am I doing great at? I make a list of things I'm doing awesome at. And then I say, well, what would it take to make me a 10 right now? And then I can identify that one thing, so I can come up with a game plan and an action plan to start taking action immediately. And when I take action, that's like receiving, right? Everyone thinks that you can just watch the book or the movie The Secret, think about it a lot, and it fucking appears, and it doesn't, man. It's like, okay, think about it first, set the intention, feel good next, let the universe do its thing, let God do his thing, and then take some massive fucking action, and you'll put it in your pocket, you'll put it into your life. The idea becomes a physical reality. And so every day I'm owning my morning, creating that visualization, increasing my positive energy up to love and abundance, and then just taking action, creating that vision and taking action. That's what I do.
Yep, love it, dude. Love it, man. So do you have you talked about it, your morning routine. So you got the visualization, self development all taking place in the morning. You've talked a lot about just getting yourself into this right state and feeling a certain way. Do you have a workout routine regimen that you kind of hit every morning as well?
I actually don't work out in the morning. I take a break, and every day at 1 o'clock I hit the gym. So from about 1 to 2:30, that's kind of like my shake up in between the day. And yeah, so I've got my workout, weight training more with cardio, and just kind of keeping good vascular and keeping high energy, and be able to sleep less and live more. So that's kind of how I do that.
Yep, no, badass, dude. Love it, man. So what do you do, dude? So you're a guy that's got a great mindset, man. I mean, you can tell by talking with you. You and I have had multiple conversations back and forth, and I mean, you're a positive, upbeat guy that's pro growth. What do you do to kind of block yourself from all the negativity that exists in the world, negative people, whatever it may be? I mean, what does that look like? How do you do that to ensure that that's not getting into your world?
Well, first of all, I admit that I have negativity in me, right? I think so many of this positive thinking culture out there, they try to hide the fact that they have any negativity in there, and that's bullshit. Because from the time you're born, you've got this cellular DNA makeup that you're gonna take on stress from when you were with your parents. You're gonna take on stress from your grandparents, and that's gonna be built up in your DNA, your subconscious mind. So the first thing is to get vulnerable and admit that you're not perfect, and admit that you're gonna fail. I see it as two failures. People have fear of two failures. Either the fear of failure, I guess not two failures, but they have two fears: the fear of failure or the fear of success. Right? The fear of I'm not good enough, I'm not gonna succeed, or the other fear is once I do succeed, once I get out into the public eye, people are gonna know how I fucked up over and over again already in my life. Right? And so people get stalemate from moving. So to answer your question in a roundabout way is I admit first that, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to fail over and over again, but that's okay. That's how I succeed. And then the next thing it is when you start to progress to that positive energy and you reprogram your mind, you start to create new neural pathways, you will start to actually push things out naturally, right? So some of the people that I hung out with when I was 24 and a drunk and a druggie and hitting the club blowing $1,500 a night, as I started shifting, naturally those people started resisting out of my life, going out of my life, right? And this life acts like a vacuum. So as they leave, the world, the universe will start to put new people into my life that then take me up to a next level. It's the people you're around, you're communicating with, that then will program how you think and how you are and how you be. And so I'm just constantly looking to, okay, is that a good vibration or is that a bad vibration? And when I recognize that vibration, I just turn the other way and I go to the positive vibration. I just try to go to positive all the time.
Yep, love it, dude. Dig it, man. Dig it, brother. So you talked about some failures, dude. And I hate the word failures because it's like they're our best learning experiences that truly define us as men, as entrepreneurs, as human beings, right? So maybe go through some of the 1, 2, 3 top failures that you've had in your entrepreneurship ventures that have truly defined you to the dude you are today.
Oh yeah, I would say one of the biggest failures that I went through is when I blew, and 23, 24 making 100 grand a year seems like a lot of money for a 23 or 24-year-old kid, right? And I remember that I would literally blow. I remember the day, dude. I was actually really high, and I blew a ton of money on online
What
gambling.
were you high on, dude?
At that time, I was probably just high on pot during the
Yeah,
day,
smoking
right?
some weed.
Yeah, and so I remember I blew like $1,500 or something on online gambling, and it was like a Tuesday, right? It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, right? And so that night I was kind of bugged, so I called up my buddies, and we went out hitting the club. I blew another 1,500 something bucks at the club, and I remember I was so smashed. I probably didn't get home till 3 in the morning. The next morning, I woke up and I just said, "What the freak am I doing with my life right now?" Right? Like I literally kind of even went into this mode in my life. Right? I'm like, I want to get out of real estate. I want to get out of this life that I'm in. I want to go figure out something else because I wasn't fulfilled on the inside, and that was probably the biggest failure that took me not only to another financial success, but actually a personal success of just more genuine happiness in my life. And it took me a little bit to kind of get out of that phase. But the biggest thing then later on that year was I got married to my wife. And all of a sudden, I wasn't partying like I was. I cut that out. And I still probably wasn't as engaged in business because I'd kind of go through this stage of where I'm not going to work. I'm just going to just chill and hang out, and whatever happens, happens. We took off and we went to Thailand for 6 weeks backpacking, and, we would go longboarding all the time. We went and lived basically the whole summer at Lake Powell, just whatever, just hanging out. And then it really changed once I found out I was going to be a dad. Like once I realized I had like another life coming in to my world, it was like boom. It took it on to like hyper focus mode and next level. So that was a longer transition failure. I think another one I went through was 2012. I went through was it 12 or 13. I remember I had associated with a brokerage that I don't know if it was as much as a failure. I look at the failure now as who I associated as a business partner with. And I had got a text message from a guy that he said, "Hey, just so you know, your owners are selling the company. You might want to consider changing." And so I just went into the owners the next day and said, "Hey, is the business doing okay? Are you guys selling? I've got this text message like, no, shit's fine. We're doing okay. Like 21 days later, they come to me and say, hey, we sold the business. And when real estate companies sell, they don't sell the business. They sell their agent database to another company, right? And I realized at that point I had made a mistake on who I had associated with, because I knew they weren't being upfront with me, right? And I was at a lunch with them, and they introduced me to the new owner, and I thought it was weird because they said, hey, this guy came up and said, hey, can I sit with you guys? I'm like, that's freaking weird, dude. There's like other tables. Why do you want to sit with us? I didn't realize what was going on. And the moment they said, hey, this is, I won't say his name, but this is your new owner, I was like, oh my gosh, dang it. I'd already made the decision. I was done. I ate my lunch and I just left. And how I had ended that relationship then didn't do me very well, because at that point, I think I had about 55 or 60 grand in escrow that was just closed that they had owed me on. I didn't get paid on for probably about 90 days. And I had to go through, I went through litigation to negotiate with them to get a settlement. And what happened is I got so focused on what I thought was mine, what I deserved. It was my work. It was my effort, that I literally stopped. My prospecting hours cut in half that next July and August. So I was so focused on what I believed should be mine that I lost the focus on the opportunity that could come. So, I mean, I went 90 days without a paycheck. And when you got staff to pay and overhead to pay, like, that's kind of like stressful, right? Not to mention it was out of my game as I was dealing with the attorney and not prospecting. So that learning curve for me was huge, in the sense of just let it go, man. You got no control. There's plenty of money out there. There's a lot of money comes easily and frequently, and so just to let go quicker. That was a huge one for me. So that's maybe two major failures I've kind of gone through that I've had to stumble through.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. Appreciate you sharing those, bro. I think that those are the moments, because so many people see what you're doing right now, and they see you doing these big numbers, and then they sit there and think that, like, oh, you must be born from a special genetic code, and being transparent with some of those failures, just let people know that, hey, dude, we're all the same, bro. You're just willing to outfail, outpush, outpersevere everybody else. So I dig it, dude. So the thing I love about you too, man, is you've got this successful business going on, but you've also learned and saw other opportunities. You've connected the dots and other elements of this industry to go out there and really become a full-on, not that you're not an entrepreneur in your real estate business, but then to go out there and create other businesses that create other income sources for you. So how did that transition, dude? How did you know it was time to create another business? What was your first side business that you created with the coaching, consulting, products that you're doing now? And what does that look like today?
Yeah, so, the biggest thing was me. I'd read a book, probably 2012 was when I first read this book, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. I don't know if you've read it. Super awesome book. I went to their Millionaire Mind experience and just got my mind blown of, okay, what does financial freedom look like? Right? Because I see a ton of successful agents in my business, but they're not financially free, man. They got to freaking, they've got to sell 100 houses a year just to live their lifestyle. If they take a month off, they're toast. And I was like, that's not how life should be. Life should be the freedom to be, to do, to have everything you want. So I went to this event and I just started learning how to manage my money differently. Okay. And the biggest thing was having a financial freedom account that I could just invest in opportunities that come up. And so I started just buying real estate. First off, just having rental properties that I own free and clear. And I started to get more breathing room and just being able to, get that passive income. And then originally, I don't remember how long ago it was, 4 or 5 years ago. I think I'd started some YouTube videos of just me prospecting. I was like, yeah, my sellers will love this. The guys out there on the phone's crushing it. And I came to find out they really didn't even care about it. But, I started getting tons of agents asking me questions about prospecting and how I do things, what scripts I use. And I was just like, man, I got to figure out how to monetize this. And so I started just doing some group training at first and making some money that way. I'm like, well, this isn't really fun. Like I'm not making as much money as I'd like, $2 per hour. So then that's when I had approached Fearless Agent, Bob Leffler, who's a great freaking mentor. Man, I wouldn't be in this business at all if it weren't for him. I would have failed out. And I said, hey, man, let's take your business online. See, he was traveling everywhere doing these presentations. He wasn't even online at all. So I helped him with my following, social media following, and his products bring it online, and then it's just started growing from there. So I had opportunities with Fearless Agent. I've had speaking opportunities since then, and just being prepared now, so when the opportunities pop up, you can just take advantage of them. And it really started with, how was I creating my financial blueprint? Was I in only working income mode, or was I in passive residual mode? And so really just creating my brain to think differently financially.
Yep, no, I dig it, man, and yeah, you're right, dude. And I think at some point I don't know. I mean, I didn't really get that. It didn't connect with me until I was in my early 30s, dude. Same thing, kind of early 30s, start having kids, and then you really quickly discover the importance of that passive income, dude. It becomes so massive. And now your coaching platform, I mean, this point, because it's all product sales, right? I mean, what are you doing to sell that? I mean, are you doing webinars out there to push it to sell the product?
No, we haven't done really any webinars. We do a lot of teleseminars. Most of our stuff's on teleseminars. And so we do product sales, which is some killer presentations, listing presentation, buyer presentation, the pricing presentation. I don't know. Have you ever met with a seller, Josh? They actually wanted to overprice their listing. You ever met with that guy?
Never once.
So
every damn time.
The presentation we use is killer in the sense that we get these guys not only price them right, but to do a price adjustment every 2 weeks and do 7% listings. And in a hot market like we've had, that maybe not be as important, but as you and I were talking earlier, this market's starting to shift. We're starting to turn into a buyer's market. And so to be able to get people to identify up front, hey, we're going to adjust our price every 2 weeks, is powerful. And then the other thing that we do is, besides the buyer's presentation, we have the FSBO presentation. We also have an investor presentation, which is helping agents to then get a customer that's going to do 5-10 deals a year with you versus having to get 10 customers versus one. And so we do that in what's called on-demand coaching. You can get the products and you can call the coaching hotline anytime and ask questions to walk through step by step. And then the other side of that is the weekly Fearless Agent Movement, which is a weekly group training call where you call in, you get 60 minutes of awesome content to build your skill schedule and your systems, and then Q&A for a half an hour. So that's, in a nutshell, the platform.
Yep. So what do you do? I hate the word balance because I don't believe it exists in life per se. But you got this real estate business, you got this coaching consulting business, plus you got a family. What do you do to make sure that your family's not getting neglected? And because drivers, entrepreneurs, it's so easy to get immersed into the business side of the world. What do you do to kind of keep a somewhat of a counterbalance there?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Honestly, you look at Facebook and Instagram or whatever, and it's like, oh man, Colton's got this awesome, cool family, right? People, that's how the picture's painted. And actually, one of the things, being transparent, is I have struggled with that in the last year and a half with my wife, and you have a 3-year-old come into the dynamics. Now you got a newborn into the dynamics, right? And I think you have to realize, just like anything else on the emotional guidance scale, is, wait a second, there's something not clicking here. Where is it at? And then ask, okay, what would it take to take this part of my life to a level 10? It's always about level 10. How can I get I think you call it leveling up, right? How can I level up right now? And so it's first is just recognize where that discontent is. And as far as with me and my family, it's not the fact that I'm always working. It's the fact that my mind is always going. I don't know if you've ever had that problem where it's like 2 a.m. and you have this next great idea because your brain doesn't shut down. And so I've had to consciously create space. I've got a business coach with Master Wealth Creators, and she asked me about priorities. Steve Covey wrote about priorities, and it's not prioritizing your schedule, scheduling your priorities, right? And she asked me to talk about my priorities, and I brought up my family, my wife, my kids, and then she asked me to bring up my schedule. And so we brought up my schedule, and guess what wasn't on my schedule, Josh?
Yep, the family.
My family, right? So I'm saying it's a priority, and so then it just, I had to change. And okay, as I do every week business planning, I call it Smart Week. I learned that from Floyd Wickman. And it's okay, as I'm starting to look at my schedule, what's my priorities? Okay, my wife and my daughter. Then all of a sudden now I'm starting to put them on my schedule very first. And when you put them on your schedule, you take action on them. Now we've got weekly lunch dates, we've got date nights, we've got one-on-one with the girls. You got even just setting up times to FaceTime. And so that was, for me, was huge. Is they're the priority number one. Let's put them on the schedule very first. And no matter else what happens, that appointment's going to happen because that's what life's all about.
Yeah, no, I love it, dude. I love it. So I got a couple last questions for you, but before we jump into that, how do our listener base? How do they reach you if they want to learn more about the products that you offer, the coaching that you offer, or maybe they're just like, hey, I got a question, about something that you brought up on the show. If they want to go check out your YouTube channel, how do they reach you?
Yeah, a couple places. You can connect with me on Facebook. Just look me up, Colton Lindsay. You can check out my personal website, which is winningtheinnergame.com. There I talk a lot about the 5 realms of human life value intertwined into real estate and just winning your inner game every single day. And then if you want to know about Fearless Agent, just go to fearlessagent.com. You can get on a free Tuesday introduction call every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Check me, ask me any questions you guys want. So.
Yep, love it, dude. Appreciate that, bro. So, all right, man. So, let's say something happens, dude. Like you're good, your health's good, your family's good, but financially you're wiped out. Like maybe you got $500 left to your name, but you want to go out there and rebuild this empire that you built, but hopefully build it in a much quicker, smarter fashion. But you've retained, dude. You got this PhD of this last decade of being an entrepreneur that you have. What are the first few things that you go out there and immediately do with little to no money to go rebuild what you built?
Oh man, first thing I do is I just set a clear schedule and I'm on the phones calling people, man. Like, I don't think much would change. I would probably just call the higher energy, quicker deals, FSBOs and expireds immediately. And what made me realize this is, you know who Floyd Wickman is? You ever heard anything from Floyd Wickman?
Yeah.
Dude, he's like 107 years old or something, real estate trainer. But I listened to an interview with him. He said that's what's great about real estate. And at the time, this was several years ago, he said you can take and go anywhere in North America and start a 6-figure income real estate business. And as the real estate and communications change, it's like you can go anywhere and start a 7-figure real estate business in North America, right? And so that's the first thing I would do is I just set up my schedule and I just hop on the phones and I'd start calling people and I would just probably get really laser focused on mastering my scripts and dialogues again, because I think you can fall off that wagon a little bit, but just master my skills and master my schedule and master my systems all over again. That's all I do.
Badass,
dude. If something happens to where your business crashes, it's because you stopped doing the fundamentals that got your business there in the first place, right? So it's going back to those 4 basics. 1, who do I listen to? What's the proven model I'm following? 2, what's my coachability index? How willing am I to learn? How willing am I to change the way I'm doing it? And then what's my believability index? Do I believe that I deserve this? Do I believe that this is possible? And then number 4 is focus on the freaking fundamentals. So that's what it always boils down to.
Yeah, love it, brother, love it, dude. So, all right, so man, GSD mode, this podcast that we do here is really just meant to be an inspirational, but also heavy tactical place for whether it's real estate agents, entrepreneurs. We've got a big listener base from all different aspects of life. To go out there and really create the epic life that they know that they truly want and that they deserve. Life is so brief, dude. Blink of an eye, it's over, right? So, what are maybe some last words of encouragement, last words of inspiration that you want to leave our listener base with to go out there and go out there and create that epic life that they know they want and they deserve, to go out there and take action and create that?
I think the biggest thing is realize that you have a giant gift, which is called life, and I see all over social media lately talking about tumultuous times. That's a word that stuck out to me recently, the wars going on in the Middle East or the problems with the government or the financial debt problems or whatever it is, right? And, you got to think of it this way. You have a heart in your chest that's beating. Most of you probably have 2 arms and 2 legs, 10 fingers, 10 toes. You got eyes that can see, ears that can hear, right? You're on a giant fucking rock floating around a burning ball of gas in the middle of an ever-expanding universe in multiple universes, right? And if you could just remember how freaking awesome that is that you're alive right now, like this moment, whatever you're doing, if you're listening to the podcast later on, if you're watching this on YouTube, just realize, okay, where are you? What is really real, man? And just boom, make everything like level 10 in your life, taking advantage of it and just fucking do life. That's the biggest thing is do life right there. Just do it.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I love it, dude. Love it, man. And to our listener base, like I end every single podcast with, information without implementation is a starting delusion. So you heard from a rock star today that's out there doing some big epic things, that's created some big epic things. Take some of the stuff that you learned, start taking action, start implementing right now, and go out there and create that life that you truly want to create for yourself. And Colton, it's been awesome, man. You're one cool ass cat, man. You're one cool ass dude. So I always enjoy spending time with you, man. This has been a true honor, my friend.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, dude. And if you ever need anything, dude, you guys know how to get a hold of Colton. Reach out to Colton. Colton, if you ever need anything from mine, dude, hit me up anytime, my brother. Appreciate it, dude.
Hey, thanks.